The puppets are quite abstract for this piece. They're not your typical, moving mouth puppet. They're not your typical marionettes. It's not a typical rod puppet. They're objects that we're manipulating through space. I had friends who were puppeteers, and they looked like they were having a tremendous amount of fun, and they had a lot of control over sort of their own creative output, and that was really attractive to me, because as a puppeteer, as an actor, you're limited to this body and this voice, but as a puppeteer, you can be a butterfly, you could be a skyscraper, you can be wind. You don't necessarily have to be a human character. I think what's so great about The Machine Stops is that it was written 100 years ago, but it's so relevant today. I mean, the story deals with isolation, with disconnection, and I think audiences will really appreciate the story and the motivations of the characters and how they are dealing with this sort of this mechanized world that they're living under. I think what delighted me and excited me was the imagery in the text and trying to figure out how to illustrate that with puppets. Because I think, there's just so much rich material in there, and I think the act of trying to figure out how we want to illustrate this story, how we want to tell this story, that to me, I think, is the most exciting and interesting. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, but you're also making the jigsaw pieces at the same time. And that has always been appealing to me. I think that's why I like building and designing puppets. That's why I like building and designing costumes, because you're really trying to solve a problem, a storytelling problem, in the act of making the puppets or costumes or whatever it is that you're working with, right? And then you're weaving those elements together with lots of other elements, design elements, the performance ensemble, and to watch it all come together to make a whole. To me, it really is doing a puzzle and making the pieces at the same time. This summer was really terrific. We had a lot of opportunity to really test out some puppet ideas, and we spent a lot of time working with shadow puppetry and creating shadow theater, which I think is a really interesting language for this piece. It really is a bit mysterious, and it allows us to really illustrate a story in a creative and unique way to sort of, show a different mode of performance that can clearly illustrate a lot of text in a visually captivating way. I really appreciate working with artists who have limited experience with puppetry, because that gives me an opportunity to teach the art form. And it really is, if you're a trained actor, or your training sort of kicks in and you can adapt to, using puppets versus using your own body. And I think, starting with that blank slate, and we're sort of creating this puppet language, this movement language together as an ensemble, in collaboration also with John, who's doing projection. We are together making our own language for expressing this piece. It's exciting because you don't often have that opportunity in sort of, traditional mainstream theater. Everyone sort of has their lanes and you stay in your lane. But with our ensemble, we're really collaborative partners, and we're all working together to try and find the best way to tell this story. Do we need puppets in this moment? Do we need projection in this moment? Maybe this moment can be handled just with text and the ensemble. But the act of bringing all of us in the room and trying to piece it together, bringing our specific art forms to the stage, magic happens.